Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you all here this evening again. Can I see the hands of those that were not here last week? There's few. Good. Just for your information, facilities around the corner. If you get thirsty, there's a bubble around the corner. Books in the front. You probably saw them as you walked in. Donation box. We do not charge because it's a community service, but if you're willing to help us and that we might continue, you're very welcome to give us a bit of a donation. Now, welcome also those that are watching through live streaming. Wherever you are, I hope you enjoy it. I'm afraid you won't be able to taste it, but you can always make it at home. Now, are you happy? Are you happy? Now, I was reading today from the wise man Solomon, and I was reading in different translation a verse here from Proverbs. And I just want to tell you how happy am I because you're all happy. And this is what he said. And in King James Version, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. And if you want to have a look at the other translation, it says, being cheerful keeps you healthy. How about that? It is slow death to be gloomy all the time. So I hope that you stay happy. Because if you are happy, well, you're on the way to being healthy also. And this is what this segment is all about. We want you to be happy. We want you to be healthy. And before we go on to our cooking demonstration, I'd like to call on Amos to come forward, and he has a lecture for us for a few minutes there. Amos, you all wired up and ready to go? It helps if you turn it on.
One's on. Well, welcome again, and it's good to see all of you again. Last time we spoke a little bit about omega-3s and omega-6s. Just to summarise, the reason why omega-3s are so lacking and people think they need a lot of fish oil and to make it up is because we tend to overdo the seed oils, most of the common vegetable oils. So if you go easy on them, you don't need to worry so much about omega-3, but you should have a good variety of nuts and seeds and those things in your diet. Today, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about whole foods, about whole grains in particular. But before we do, I'd like to lay the groundwork by telling you about an experience I had while I was overseas, something I came in contact with. The clinic that I did my practical at, there was a farmer there who supplied the clinic with produce who was what they call nutrient-dense growing. Basically, the man who invented it went around the world looking for the best, most disease-free, most productive plants, tested the soil and figured out what a good soil looks like. And as a result, they are able to grow, for example, carrots. The average supermarket carrot is about 15 milligrams of calcium. They are able to grow a carrot that has 500 milligrams of calcium. And this reflects on the state of agriculture today, and that is that the same ground is grown on over and over and over again. And the only thing that's put back into it is nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and if you're really lucky, some calcium and magnesium. And the trace elements, the minor elements, all have to come from the soil. So you can imagine after 10, 20 years of farming the same ground, the soil is getting depleted, right? The plants don't necessarily need those things to be alive, but we do. So, as a matter of fact, in 1940, there was a test done. What they did, they burnt some corn down to ash, dry corn down to ash. Now, when you burn something down to ash, what is left is the minerals, right? Back in the 1940s, you got 4.5 milligrams. I'm not sure, it was grams actually. I'm not sure how much that's from, but just to give you comparison, when they retested it in more modern times, it was 0.5 of a gram. So what's that, about 9 times less? Now, the reason I'm telling you about this is because with the current situation in the world today, we actually need more nutrition because it takes minerals and vitamins and all these things to help you to process the toxins that are more common in our environment. And what we do, though, is we take a lot of the products, like grains, we take them and we strip off the outside, we strip off the germ, we take all that stuff away, and so from what was already not enough, we've got even less. Okay? The bottom line is, our body is a series of little production lines. Everything we do, our energy, our hormones, all of these things are produced in these little biochemical factories in our bodies. And the supplies going in are going to what determines the performance coming out. If you're having little, you'll have less performance and you'll get up not feeling as good, not feeling as much energy, not feeling as much vitality. And the one thing I do want to talk today about in particular is about what happens when you take whole grain and strip it down to white flour or white rice or other white products. You see, in our bodies, every one of our cells is, in varying senses, something like this. We have the cell membrane, we have a nucleus which contains your chromosomes. I'm not going to draw them all. And we have basically a type of circulatory and transport system. We have ribosomes which manufacture protein. We have a cell skeleton which keeps the cell in shape. We have mitochondria. And these are like the bowels of the cell, or the digestive system. What happens in there is you take starches and we turn them into energy. We take sugars, and we turn sugar, protein or fat, into energy. Now what happens in the process as the sugar gets broken down into smaller and smaller components? Along the way, something's generated called free radicals and oxidants. You may have heard that term out there. Basically, a free radical, in a slightly more limited sense, acts very similarly to nuclear contamination. It attaches to the chemical components of your cell and tears them apart. So if it attaches to the cell membrane, it'll cause it to cause microscopic damage. The thing that protects you against that is your antioxidant vitamins like vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin C, coenzyme Q10. The vitamin E actually lines these little furnaces, if you like a fireproof coating that absorbs any of these things that are generated. Guess where vitamin E is found in large quantities in plant-based foods? In the germ of the wheat and the rice and any other grain you're having. So we have a package deal in this grain. It has the vitamin E to get rid of the antioxidants, and it also has chromium. Chromium has been shown to be very, very important for balancing sugar. So if you have these sugars coming in and you don't have enough chromium, your blood sugar balance won't be working quite as well. Also, on the outside of your grain, you have the bran, and the bran is has both soluble and non-soluble fibre, and both of them slow down the release of the sugar that's produced when the starch is broken down. So what happens when we take away the bran? Well, when you eat it, your blood sugar is going to spike up suddenly and then drop down a little bit lower than it was before, if you've taken away that control. When you take away the germ, you've taken away what's needed to work in this little plant here. And when you take away the bran, you also take away the chromium that's needed to help balance the blood sugar. And that is one of the reasons why we have so many diabetics around today, is because we take what nature provides and we try and improve. And that's not usually a good idea, because what we find out there is what we're designed to have, and when we try and improve it, it doesn't go so well. There's a whole host of trace minerals. This is one of my favourite books. It's called The Optimum Nutrition Bible. There is a whole host of trace minerals that are lost. For example, chromium, which is the thing that helps you control your blood sugar. White flour, you lose 98% of the chromium in the processing. White rice, you lose 86%. Of the trace minerals, typically you lose around 90% when you take something wholemeal and change it into something white. So what I'd like to encourage is, do yourself a favour, find ways of making whole grains taste nice. If you're going to get rice, and it's the first time you've cooked brown rice, don't buy short grain, or medium grain for that matter. It's cheaper, but if you eat that, you'll probably not eat brown rice again, because it's sticky and it's gluggy. It's good for rice pudding or for sweet dishes, but it's no good if you're making a savoury dish. So buy yourself long grain. You can get long grain. You can even get brown basmati rice in the supermarket nowadays. Has a strong smell, but it is, if you can get over that, it's very good. And just bear in mind, the only wholemeal bread you can buy is the one that says stone ground wholemeal. All the other ones that say wholemeal are not wholemeal. They are white flour with a bit of bran thrown back in, and they're mostly white. They add a little bit of food colouring in there to make it look not so white anymore. The same thing with your rye breads. Most of them are refined rye flour and largely wheat flour anyway, only about 20 to 30% rye. So bear that in mind. Pasta, you can get wholemeal pasta. You have to cook it slightly different ways. You have to find ways of making these things taste nice, because enjoying things is very important, like Joe said in the beginning. If you don't enjoy your food, it won't do you a whole lot of good. And when I came in this evening, I noticed one thing you'll see tonight is white rice. This is actually quite a good example, because we don't want to get so excessively worried about eating the right thing that we can't sometimes eat something for enjoyment, because we've got to remember, some people, they actually make themselves sick because they're so worried about what they're going to eat and whether it's healthy or not, and they don't know how to make it taste nice, and they eat it just because they want to stay alive, and that's not going to do them much good, right? So it's not like, if you have a choice sometimes and you don't know how to prepare it nicely, don't whip yourself. Just experiment, ask questions. Last week we learnt about millet. Millet is an excellent grain. It's a whole grain, and it's, they say, the only alkaline grain. So just some thoughts to bear in mind. I hope I've given you some motivation to try these things, knowing how your body works, how it's a little package deal, and everything's in there that you need if you want to have good blood sugar control, which means good mood, good energy, good everything else, less chance of diabetes. Eat whole grains. They're very good for you, and they're good for you the way nature provided them. Thank you.
Thank you, Amos. Can we pack this away so it's out of the way from the girls? And while you're going in the back, Amos, if you can pass over to whoever the first presenter is, the microphones, that will be appreciated. Did you enjoy that? Very good. Are you doing it already? How many of you are using brown rice? Oh, look at that. That's quite a few. What about wholemeal, wheat, whole grain? Few. Well, there's a challenge for you. Okay, try it. Now, our presenters today, you will have a couple of new, well, they're not new faces, but it'll be Lydia, and then we have Amy, and we are going to have Stella. And, of course, Rosetta is going to be here. And this is Amy, in case you don't know, remember from before, those that were here. Now, just to repeat what we mentioned last week, we do have a little health food store downstairs. And after we finish, you're very welcome to go and have a look what we have there. We have nuts and grains and greens, you name it, we have it. And Elaine will be there to serve you, so you're very welcome to go down after. And don't forget the books, don't forget the recipes. Try them. Did anybody try anything from last week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How'd you go? Good? Very good. Are we nearly ready, Lydia? Okay. Who is starting us off tonight? Amy? So what is Amy making? Amy? Oh, okay. All good.
Okay, sorry, I was just getting wired up.
It might work. Put it on. One's on.
Wires everywhere.
On.
Okay, is that better? Can you all hear me now?
Let's start again, Amy, from the beginning.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so we're doing the banana crumble slice on there. Now we're just going to do the base because that's going to bake for, I think, 10 to 15 minutes. So first off, we're going to get our chickpeas. So it's just a tin. It's already been drained. So we're just going to pop that into our food processor. Can I give you that? Thank you. And we'll add the oats. Now, chickpeas, did a bit of a Google before I started, and chickpeas are meant to lower cholesterol, and they're also a really good source of fibre. So, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's what I got off Google this afternoon, this evening. Now, so we've added our chickpeas, our oats. We're going to add our brown sugar, our olive oil. So it's very easy. It all just goes straight in without any much fuss. We'll put our vanilla extract. our cinnamon. You have to love the smell of cinnamon. It's one of my favourite smells. You've got a bit of baking powder. We don't have baking powder here.
Don't have baking
No, sorry. So we'll just put our salt in. Our flour. Our coconut. And I think my mum's just grabbing the baking soda. And we literally pop it in the food processor. Thank you. It's 1/4. Okay, so baking powder. And we pop it in. I'm going to make a bit of noise. And we just wait until it's all condensed together. A spoon. It goes quite gluggy like a dough. Okay. Okay, so we empty it into our pan. And I just kind of pat it down all around. Oh, that's not a, sorry. No, I'll use the spoon, that's okay. And we scrape it all out. And just so it's on the bottom of the pan, all covered, all as even as possible. Because it's more like a pasty, doughy type thing, it's a little bit more difficult. But we just pat it down. And we pop it in the oven. So the oven, we preheat it on 200 degrees. And then we add to it. Now, if it's a bit sticky, just wet your spoon a little bit, and it doesn't stick as much to it, so it's a lot easier. And that's how you do the base. So we'll just take it out the back and we'll bake it, and we'll come back later on and we'll finish the pie. And now that's the banana slice just there. So hope you're all looking forward to trying it. Who thought that chickpeas could be used in a sweet dish? Something different. Okay, I'm going to pass the microphones over. I'll just show you that. And so then we'll just bake it in the oven. Thank you. I'll see you back later on. Okay.
Those that are not aware, this is mother and daughter theme. Amy and Lydia. And poor husband and father just has to watch and eat. And put white on. And enjoy it, of course. Good. Well, Stella is going to do soup, I think. So if you get ready with your recipes there, we'll wire her up. Are you wired up?
Yes, I'm not sure if it's working.
You're ready.
Okay, can you help me, please? This is a bit too much. Like this?
Yeah, well, this is Stella, everybody. And Stella, you can tell them what you are going to do.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to make a very, very delicious zucchini soup. Zucchini is very, very healthy. I've never known. Now that I was asked to present this soup, I looked it up, and it says that zucchini helps in curing asthma. because it has a lot of vitamin C, which is powerful antioxidant and has anti-inflammatory properties. Zucchini also prevents the risk of having multiple sclerosis. Zucchini have a high water content, over 95%. That's why it's good for people that wants to go a bit slimmer. So, you have your zucchini recipe? It's a very easy, very quick recipe. I just love it because it's quick and easy. Evening time when I come home from work, it's just 10 minutes. So we have all the vegetables. Do you mind taking off the water, please? So we have the 2 kilos of zucchini. We sliced it up in the machine, but you can slice it up in your hand. At home, I don't do this. I just chop it up in my hand in chunky pieces. Then we have the 2 potatoes that Lydia just took out the water of it. And we have the carrots and zucchini and onions. So what I do, I put all the vegetables in the pot. Thank you, Lydia. I don't think it's going to fit in this one.
This will go down.
Yeah, this will go down as it starts cooking.
That's fine.
Thank you. And then I put the potatoes, I put the celery, I put the carrots, everything in this little pot, and I put that much water just to cover it, not too much. I even push it down a little bit because we don't want the soup too watery. Can I have the hot water, the boiling water, please? So we put the just to cover it a little bit. Thank you. The Maselli chicken style powder, and we put the cubes. I think everybody is familiar by now with the cubes. No animal, no, how do you call that? MSG. So once I put this on the stove, I just do something else, and by the time I just prepare my croutons or my rice, the soup is finished. It's going down as it cooks. Maybe I need a little bit more water. And the lid, please. When it's cooked, I just whiz it up with the mushroom flavoring that I'll show you what it is in a second. And a little bit of oil, 2 spoons of oil. And of course, if you feel like it's not enough salty, you can add a little bit of salt to it. I think that's enough, because the other one was too. Yeah. So this is the mushroom flavoring. It says it's vegetarian mushroom seasoning. And it's only one place, I think, in Sydney that we found it. I'm not sure. What is this one? Oh, we're going to have it in our shop downstairs very soon. And if the girls want to take it around to show you how it looks like, it's just little granules. Yes, please. And you can just, yep, thank you. So this is going to cook while Lydia will present another dish, and I'll come back and we'll raise it up. And tell me, is it tasty? Is it nice? It's a bit different. The color is not that beautiful, but it's very good. Actually, I make it when the white big zucchini is in season. I make it with the white zucchini. This is just the ordinary green zucchini from the shop. And what I do, we have some guests in my house at the moment, and one of the girls is Brazilian, and she told me, I just want to eat this with soup, with rice. So what she does, she put the rice in the bowl, and then we pour soup. And ever since I tasted it that way, I think I like it more. So you can try it either way. Yeah. Thank you very much. I don't know how to hook this on for you.
Now this pot fascinates me. How can you put in more than it fits? It's amazing, isn't it? So probably would have been easier to use a bigger pot, I would say. Or put less ingredients in. It'll work though. It'll go down. Well, next is Lydia, and I think it'll be something with beans and rice. Is that correct?
2 different dishes, that's correct.
This is not going to work.
Okay. Do you want to put it the other way? Okay,
That'll do.
that's okay. No worries. I'll just get set up here if you just bear with me a few moments. I'm a Brazilian, if you don't know. So I'm not the one that eats the rice with the soup, but I do love rice and beans. And in Brazil, that's a staple diet, rice and beans. There's rice and beans every day. And that makes a complete protein. The rice and the beans together gives you complete, everything that you need. It's really good. But we're going to do a different style of rice and beans than they do in Brazil. We're going to have a baked casserole bean. I'll just get the rest of my... And today I'm going to use bolotti beans. Now, are you familiar with bolotti beans? Bolotti beans is a speckly bean. And I have soaked some over here. And you can soak it overnight. And it's kind of spotty. It's a spotty bean. And when you soak it, it just swells up and it makes it easier to cook. What I'm going to do with my casserole, we're going to do it in a baking dish. But you can use the slow cooker if you have one. You can put everything into the slow cooker and then come home in the afternoon and your meal's ready. So you can do that. Or if you are at home, put it in in a baking dish, a casserole dish, and put it in the oven. It takes about 2.5 hours for it to be nice and soft. And I'm going to, it's very, very simple and very easy to do. Because I've been soaking the beans, I usually soak it overnight. We're just going to drain these beans and then just mix everything together. And because they've been soaking, that softened them up. So it doesn't absorb as much water and it doesn't take as long to cook as if you would use the dry bean itself. So I'll just grab a sieve and I'll just drain these beans. They've been soaking. I'll just take that out of the water. Before I soak the beans, I wash it. Give it a really good wash. I sort it out first because sometimes you can get little rocks. You can, when you buy beans, you find little bits and pieces in it sometimes. So just go through it. Make sure there's no rocks, there's no foreign objects sitting there. And then wash it really well before you soak it. So when you soak it, you don't need to rewash it. And discard that water because that water causes a lot of gas. So if you... beans are already bad enough without the extra help. So discard that water. Okay. So those beans are ready now to be mixed. I'm going to use a large bowl because it's quite a bit of mixture and I don't have a glass bowl to mix everything up. So I'm going to put 750 grams of beans. I should take a little bit out for you to see actually. I'll just take a few out. It's not going to make too much difference. And you can have a look at these beans after. You want to pass it around, Joe? Thank you. And then I'm just going to add all the vegetables that I have in there. Now, in your sheet, there is, you can put tomato paste in this, but we did it without it. So just delete where it says method, drain water from soaking beans, add all other ingredients together, and that's it. Just cross out except the tomato paste, okay? Because we're not going to use tomato paste today. So, okay, so I'm going to put all my veggies, I'm going to put my onion into it. You can use brown onions or purple onions. I'm using purple onions tonight. It doesn't really matter, it's whatever you have at home. And then I'm going to put my celery, chopped up celery. It's so good when we've got it all chopped up. But I did all this in the food processor and it was very quick in the Kitchen Whiz. It doesn't take long to just process everything. My carrots and some capsicum, red capsicum. My parsley. Now, I'm going to use garlic, and I'm going to use quite a bit of garlic in it because beans without garlic, they just don't taste the same. So I'm going to put a garlic into it. You'll probably look at that and you say, wow, look at all that garlic they're using. Half a head of crushed garlic, that's a fair bit. But believe me, it needs it. It will be really nice. And I'll put in my oil and the salt, mix everything together. So this is what it's going to look like, all mixed up together. And then I'm going to put it into my baking dish, and I'm only going to put enough water just to cover it. Now, you can do it two ways. You can put a little bit extra and then leave it uncovered and put it straight in the oven like that, and just keep an eye on it. And whenever you remember, 15 minutes, half hour, just give it a bit of a stir. Or you can just cover it up with some greaseproof paper and some aluminium foil on top. I don't like to put aluminium directly on food, so I always like to put the baking paper first. Now, when you're mixing it up, sometime I'll put it in for an hour and then I give it a bit of a mix and then I put it in for another hour. When you take it out the second time, have a little taste and then you can tell if it needs something else. You might want to, if you want to get the Mexican flavour, you might want to put some cumin in it, or you may want to put a bit of extra garlic in it, or you may want to put a little bit more salt. So have a taste, and then put it back in for another half hour. Okay, now if you've got the slow cooker, you just put this into the slow cooker, and you fill it up with water, probably about an inch or 2-point-something centimetres. I'm still used to the inch. On top, okay, of your slow cooker, so that it's got plenty of liquid, and that'll cook all day, and then you'll be ready to, when you come home, your dinner will be ready. But beans are a very, very good source of protein. So the way they eat rice and beans in Brazil is they do beans differently, and they make it with like a saucy bean, and then they put the rice on top, and they eat then with their legumes, and sometimes they put meat into it and things like that. But we're just going to do it like this today. It's different, and the rice I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rice casserole, and it's going to be with a curry sauce, and I'm going to bake that. So it will taste a little bit different than your standard normal rice that they make in Brazil. So I'll just get some water and top that up with water. Just so that you can see the water, but it's not too much, because we're going to keep an eye on this one. It's going to go into the oven. Can you see? Is there a photo there showing this? It's just got enough water that it's floating on top, but it's not a lot. Okay, so we're just going to put that in the oven and I'm going to get Joe to take it round the back because that will be then baking. That'll have to bake for about 2.5 hours. Okay, so that's our beans. Any questions on the bean casserole? You can use kidney beans. You don't have to use ballotti. I'll use ballotti today. You can use kidney beans. You can use all sorts of beans. You can use cannellini beans as well if you like that sort of bean. You can put that in. You can do a combination of beans if you like. So, yes, it's... Okay. Okay, you're all happy? Okay, well, I'll go on to the rice dish now then. I'll just pop this over here. Okay. What I've used today, I've just used some jasmine rice and I just put it in the rice cooker like you would normally. And so I've already done some pre-cooked jasmine rice so that I can just put the curry on top, the curry sauce. Now I'm going to use some soy milk. I'm going to use some Marcel chicken style stock. I'm also going to use some tofu. If you do eat eggs, you want to have eggs instead of tofu, you can just hard boil the eggs, slice it on top of your rice, and then you pour the curry into it. But I'm going to use tofu instead because we won't be using eggs tonight. So we've got lots of protein tonight. We've got the tofu, that's really heavy on protein, and we've got the beans. So we've got a good protein meal tonight. I'm going to start cooking the curry sauce. First of all, I want to saute my onions, so I put my oil in the pot, and I put my onion and just let that simmer for a while. I'll just bear with me, I'll get get a wooden spoon. And then what I'm going to use, it's practically a white sauce, but I put some curry powder in it to give it the flavour and give it the colour. And curry is really good for you. Turmeric's very good for you. So that's why So we're going to make, what I'm going to do, I'm going to layer the tofu on top of my rice. That's the mushroom, yeah, the mushroom, it's not gravy, it's a mushroom flavouring. Yes, that's the one, yep. You probably can get it in an Asian store. It's made by Lamyong. We will have some downstairs after Wednesday, but you can definitely, I think you would be able to get it in an Asian store, yes. So I've just done the rice and the tofu as such, and then I'm going to make my curry powder, a curry sauce, and just pour it on top. And then layer some nice rings of tomatoes. And it's very simple, but it changes completely the taste of your rice. It just gives it a lift. It really does. If you want to, you can do it with whole grain rice, which is really good for you. But I've just done it with the jasmine rice. I love the flavour of jasmine rice, and I love the smell of it when it's cooking. But you can do it whichever rice you prefer. You don't have to stick with jasmine rice. Any questions? No? Yes. Yes, cross that out.
Cross it out?
Yes,
all right.
You can put it if you wanted, but we didn't this time.
All right, thank you.
Okay? If you're doing the tomato paste, you need to put it towards the end because it won't allow the bean to cook properly. The acidity in the tomato won't let it cook properly. or quicker, so it takes a long time for it to cook. So if you do want to put some tomato paste into it, you can by all means, but do it at the end, the last half hour or so, 15 minutes to half an hour, just to give it a bit of a cook, and that's it. Or if you want to, you can break in a tin of tomatoes or put fresh tomatoes as well if you like that flavour. But because we didn't do it tonight, I should have taken it off the list, but you can do it if you like to have that flavour through it. You can also put other things. You can put oregano, you can put whatever flavouring you do like. So so it's all open to what flavours you like. Okay, my onions are getting nicely caramelised. It's almost see-through. So we're just going to add my flour and my curry. And I'll give that a bit of a stir through before I put my milk in it. And you're having that consistency. Okay. So that it's You could use corn flour to thicken it up if you wanted to, or you could use arrowroot. If you can't use flour, you can use some gluten-free flours. But the flour is there so that it'll thicken up. That'll make it thicker. So you can use other things to make it thicken up. And you also can add extra salt or whatever. If you don't think it's salty enough, just add some extra salt or an extra cube into it. So what you're having there is the complete protein, the rice and the beans. They go hand in hand together. This curry sauce is lovely on vegetables too. If you want to do some steamed vegetables and just have curry sauce on top, it's really nice. It goes with a lot of things. Just experiment at home. Don't stick with what we've shown you. We're introducing certain things, but have a go at doing different things for yourself, because you'd be surprised at trying out things. You really get some really good results sometimes. And if you don't, who cares? Doesn't matter. It's a learning process, isn't it? You won't do it next time, so don't worry. Yes?
Is that the soft or hard tofu that you use?
The hard tofu.
Hard.
Hard tofu, yes. It was easier to slice, yes.
Don't be scared if I stick a microphone in front of you, because we want the others to hear that are watching it on
hello
live streaming.
Everybody that's watching us. I know my daughter's in Perth and she's watching us tonight, and my son-in-law and a few people from Perth. And everyone else, I know there's some people in Tasmania. Hello everyone in Tasmania and all over Australia, and I don't know, all over the world. I don't know who'd be watching, but welcome. The one that I've used, Marcella, the tofu that I've used, I bought it from Aldi. Yes. So it says organic fresh tofu, and that's what it looks like. So, yes. So I find a little while ago, I think it was about a month or so ago, was it, Joe? We went in and I was looking for tofu, and they said, we don't stock it anymore. And I went, I was really disappointed. And today, when we went shopping, guess what? We found it. So they must have brought it back in. Yeah. And into this curry sauce, I'm just going to break in my stock cubes for flavouring and for saltiness. And when you're cooking, don't be scared to try it and taste it as you go along, because then you can judge whether you need extra salt or extra something. And I'll tell you a trick. Because I've put onion into here, and the cream, sometimes it looks a little bit little lumpy, and people think it's onion, so don't worry if it's a little bit lumpy. Don't feel bad. It's camouflage. There's many different ways to prepare beans. This is just one way, but there is a lot of other ways. You can have salad, you can have different stews, different flavours through it. You can have a mashed bean, you can have burritos and all sorts of things, enchiladas, and so beans make a big part of your diet. It's a very important part of your diet. I'm just going to pour this now on top of my rice and tofu. Okay. And then I'll just bake this for about 20 minutes in the oven, just to get that lovely crisp top, and also like a little browning on the top. This dish is a little bit small, so just arrange whatever you like on top. The tomato looks pretty, so I'll just do the tomatoes. Okay. And that's my rice, and that's ready for the oven, to be popped into the oven. So I will call now Amy. I think she might be ready to continue on with the dessert. I'll just go and check with her. Sorry, was anybody had anything that you'd like to ask? No? Well, that's good. Very good. I'll just pop this over here out the way. Now we do have a stock of beans downstairs as well. We've got ballotti beans, we've got kidney beans, we've got I think about 4 different varieties of beans. We also have soybeans off and on when we can get it, the organic soybeans. And we're also going to be carrying this mushroom flavouring downstairs after Wednesday, so we should have it in after Wednesday. Sorry. This one? There is a packet going around somewhere. I'll see if I can find it for you and you can have a look and you can read it. It's made by Lamyong. Lamyong. Yes, and in our shop downstairs we also have the baking powder that hasn't got any aluminium. We've got that downstairs as well if you're interested. Aluminium, some baking powders have aluminium. Yeah. Every day, 9 to 5:30, except for Fridays. They're closed at 1 on Friday. But Wednesday night we stay open till 7, so it'll compensate. So yeah, Wednesday nights we're open till 7. Otherwise it's, yes, directly downstairs. Just before you come up those stairs down at the back here, just if you go ahead, next to the stairs, there's a door, it's just in there. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have the packet of the mushroom flavour somewhere? Yes. You can. You can use mushrooms if you want to, yeah. This is just quick, a lot quicker than washing your mushrooms, chopping it up, that's all. Yes, I believe so. Yeah, but I will get you the packet. I'll go find it for you and you can read it. Yes, thank you. Oh, good question. Depends how strong you want the flavour of mushrooms. If you really like the flavour coming through, I would probably put about, you know how you get them in a little tub? One of those tubs, I would put that much in. Yes, something that big, yeah. It would be nice, yes, it would be nice. With the dry shiitake mushrooms, you've got to soak it first and then use it. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful flavour, yes. Yes, it is. I buy the Indian curry. I will go and get the bottle for you to look at. Well, you can use any curry, but I like that particular brand, so yeah. I'm just looking. That's okay. That's okay. The beans. Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes. Where's your mic, Joe? Sorry.
Couldn't you first boil the beans first, or parboil it and then bake it?
You can. I haven't. I just put it straight in the oven as it was because they had been soaking overnight. So you don't need to parboil. You can, but that'll really help the process. It'll make it quicker. Yeah, maybe you can bake it for an hour instead of 2.5. You can also use a pressure cooker. If you've got a pressure cooker, you can use that and then do that up first and then mix it up with your veggies and just put it in the oven for half an hour or so. Yeah. Sorry. I used curry powder. Yeah, I'll go and get the tin so you can have a look which one. It's a yellow Indian. Oh, that's the one. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Clive of India, that's the one that I've used tonight. Okay, that's the curry that I've used tonight. Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
For the savoury beans casserole, can you use green capsicum instead of red capsicum?
Can I use
green capsicum?
Green capsicum, yes, you can. Yes, okay. It just be a stronger flavour. Yeah, you can definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The Clive of India curry powder. Clive of India. Yeah. Get them in Coles and Woolies and yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. That's good. Sorry. See if you can find the packet. Oh, they've got it. Oh, okay. Very good. Okay. Good. So how was it? Was it okay? Yeah? Oh, good. That's good. That's good. All right. Now, I think Amy's ready to take you through the next lot of the yummy slice that you're going to have in a minute, but I've just got to wire her up. Do we undo this?
I've already washed my hands.
One. Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so moving on to our last one, the banana crumble slice. What we're going to do normally while I've got the crust baking in the oven, this is when I prepare the filling. So we just pop a saucepan on the stove and you pop your coconut cream. It's quite a thick consistency. You pop that into the pot. And there is a bit of watery stuff on the bottom, that's fine. So we empty all of that one out. We add in 2 tablespoons of honey. Oops.
If you don't want to use honey, you can use golden syrup, or you can use maple syrup, or you can use a brown sugar. It's just a sweetener, but for tonight we're using honey. And we've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And we just mix it all. Now, while this is going on, normally what my mum's doing, she's just mashing up the banana. So normally I would do that step first, just while this is boiling. And we give it a stir, just to combine everything together. Okay, so this is how we mash bananas, just with a fork. It's almost like doing it for a baby. I don't know if any of you have had children in the past.
That's what I used to do when she was a little girl.
So we mash up the banana. Okay. Just get my other ingredients ready.
You're doing good here.
Okay.
Is that enough for you to
Yep.
that? More?
So it's going to stay quite chunky because we do want a few banana chunks through it. So if you can all see that. All right. So we pop that in on the stove. Oh, you've just taken away my spoon, Mum. That's okay. All right, so we just pop it on high heat and you'll feel it heating up. Once it's heating up, you don't want it to stick on the bottom as well. So give it a stir and we add our banana into that mixture. Just a bit of a stir. It will look a bit lumpy, but that's okay. And into that we add our lemon juice and our cinnamon. Whoops. All right, so give it all a nice stir in your pot. It doesn't really matter which ingredients you put in first, as long as they all end up in the pot at one stage, all is good. We're just going to bring that to a boil. Now, while that's on the stove, can you get the base, please?
The base is not quite ready.
Not quite ready yet. Okay, so the base isn't quite ready because the oven wasn't switched on. So that's okay. Bit of a glitch in the kitchen. So we pop that on. Now I'm just going to go quickly wash my hands and I'll prepare the crumble side. Can you just watch that? Thank you.
Talking about rice and beans, I had the privilege of twice being in Brazil. She dragged me over there to meet the family and the normal thing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But you know how we have, as you travel from place to place, you have Macca's and you have Kentucky Fried, very close to the service stations when you stop. Well, in Brazil, when you stop, they all have the restaurants there, in the service stations itself. And guess what they're serving? Rice and beans. Everywhere you go in Brazil, you can get rice and beans in nearly every service station. And I love rice and beans, so I was quite at home there. So I found it quite fascinating. She's back.
I'm back. Okay, so just keep an eye on this one because we don't want it to burn, but we'll wait for that to boil. Just grab a clear bowl or whatever mixing bowl you've got, and we add our oats. So this is the crumble topping. So our oats, our flour, our brown sugar, our cinnamon, and our baking powder. And just give it a quick stir, just to combine it all together. Okay. The brown sugar does clump up, but that doesn't matter at all. So we do a quick mix. like a fluffy. It's quite an easy recipe because it's a half of oats, a half of sugar, and a half of flour. You can use wholemeal flour if you'd prefer, and you can use the whole oats as well if you don't want to use the quick oats. Now we grab our oil and we just pour it in and give that a quick stir just to combine it. This is my fun part. I like to get my fingers into the mix because otherwise it doesn't get quite crumbly. So we'll just crumble it up in our fingers. If you've got children at home that like to get their fingers dirty, it's a fun one too. So it goes almost like a soft crumb, and it's quite crumbly. Oh, making a bit of a mess. Okay. And that's what it generally looks into. I'm just going to quickly go wash my hands.
I'm going to read you a few facts. Sorry, is that on? Yeah. About proteins. Proteins, and more importantly, complete proteins, are needed for the growth and development and manufacture of hormones, antibodies, and tissues. It is also needed for the development of bones, muscles, skin, cartilage, and blood. Here we go, the whole family's in, yes. Okay, hair and nails are also made up of proteins. Lack of proteins in the diet can cause serious problems for the smooth functioning of the body. You can supplement it with drinks and shakes or include the natural source in your diet. So it's really important to have proteins in your diet. Proteins are made up of amino acids, which are also called the building blocks of all proteins. These amino acids are present in different combinations in the body. A complete protein consists of all the essential amino acids. The essential amino acids are those which the body cannot make in its own and has to be supplemented through the diet. Now, the one that we did tonight, this combination, which is very popular with the rice and the beans, it's very easy to have. You can try combining any of the other grains as well, other whole grains that we showed you, like millet and different ones that we have shown you. You can use them as well, which is really good. So that's just a little bit for you to think about with the proteins. Okay? Sorry, Amy.
That's
you can
okay.
Continue on.
Now, the crust is baked. So you can see just a little bit of brown on the tops. And that's fine. Depending how much you process it, depending will be how crunchy and how bits that will be. We're just going to go back to our banana filling. We add our corn flour with our water. Thank you. And we just whisk it together to combine it. Bit of a whisk. And this is what thickens up the banana cream in the middle. Thank you. So as we're stirring it, the pot's boiling, and we just that didn't really work. Slowly add the corn flour into the mixture. And as it continues to boil, it will thicken up. How does it taste? All right, so you just bring that to the boil, bit of a stir. And it'll go like a pudding-ish consistency. You can all see that? It's quite thickish. Now, as it cools, it does thicken more. So, okay. So once you've brought that to a boil, we pour it on the top. spread it out. Banana is the Brazilian food too, so it just worked that way. We didn't plan it that way, but it just happened to be. Now, depending on what size dish you're using, it might look like it will overflow, but we'll try and... There we go. Is that... Can I just pop that there? Okay, so just once again, spread it out as flat as possible, and you'll see it'll start to harden as it slowly cools. Okay, thank you. You get your crumble, once again your hands, and you just crumble it on top. Now you can serve this dessert cold as a slice, or you can also serve it warm with some ice cream or some custard, which is quite would be quite nice as well. Now, depending on how many crumbs you want, it's your choice. Some people like a lot of crumbs, some people don't like so much. And that's our slice. Then we pop it back in the oven and we bake that. Again, thank you, Mum.
Good.
Back to you.
Yep, Stella's going to come and finish off the soup.
Okay.
You want to take that out the back?
Yeah, you can give Stella your tools. Now, back in I'm not a Brazilian, by the way, but I love bananas and I love rice and beans. I grew up in Croatia, and as a young boy, when I used to get pocket money, normally kids would run and buy ice cream or lollies in your little corner store. Well, guess what I bought? I bought a banana, because bananas were very scarce in Croatia, and I love bananas. So I was about 11 and a half when we arrived here in 1966, long time ago. And we used to buy boxes of bananas. And until this day, I still love bananas, and I can't live without them. So bananas are really good for you. So don't be scared to have bananas. Good. Now Stella is going to come back. In the meantime, while we are waiting, on the front table, there's an invitation for optimal health. Now, this will be held on the 18th of May, which is next Sunday. Is that correct? Next Sunday, 3 sessions, 2, 3, and 4:15. Okay, we have a lady by the name of Susan Lavshevic, and also Alistair. Remember Alistair Payar, the naturopath, he will be here. And there's going to be some workshop also. If you want to attend, please take an invitation, give us a call, and you're very welcome to come. Okay, but let us know that you're coming so we know. Good. And again, I remind you, last week we didn't have any linseed in stock if you were looking for it. Well, guess what? Linseed has arrived, so we have plenty of linseed downstairs. So if you'd like it, you're very welcome. Are you ready, Stella?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Okay, take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good enough, yeah. So my soup is cooked. So all I do, I put it in the blender. I add the mushroom flavoring and the oil, whiz it up, and it's all done. You can try, I never tried, and I believe it would be very tasty. I mean, you can try any other flavorings. I like it like this, but it might be the same or better with some other flavorings that you like.
Fresh mushrooms.
Yeah, I
think
think.
best to put it in the pot with the veggies at the beginning. Cook it together. Now or later?
No, just one. I'll put the rest in the other one. that's okay. Thank you. So it's all done nice and fresh. Do I do the whole lot? Thank you.
Imagine all the vitamins in that pot.
Thank you. Yeah, that's enough. Did anybody try any of the new recipes? No? And that's about it for tonight. Is there anybody else?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Thank you, Lydia.
All I can tell you is I would rather be here than in there. You're very lucky that you can't see what's going on in there. It's very intensive. Well, is that it? I'm not sure.
Lydia,
I was just told by Elizabeth, if you want to register, you can tell her if you're coming on Sunday the 18th, and she will mark you, she will put your name down. But don't forget that on the 19th is our last cooking demonstration in this series. And also we will have Alistair, the naturopath, here to give us a little talk. We thank Amos for doing the honors for the last 2 weeks. And I hope that you have enjoyed it and learned something, because this is what it's all about. Is that it for you guys? You finished? No? Oh, they're not finished yet. You are finished. Okay, just a reminder, donation box, books, shop. And before we say good night, as normally, I'd invite you to bow your heads and we'll ask the Lord to bless us as we leave this place. Loving Heavenly Father, once again we want to thank you for the privilege of being here this evening to learn how to use things that you have created for us. Bless us with health, bless us with safety, and help us to see each other again next week, perhaps, when we all get together again to continue with this series. But most of all, we ask for your holy angels to watch over us as we travel home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you for coming.
I don't know whether Joe asked anybody, but did anyone try any of the things that you saw here last week?
I did.
Yes? Oh, that's wonderful. That's good. You're happy with it? Yeah? Oh, awesome. That's good. Now you've got another challenge this week. So I hope you really enjoyed. Any questions? You need another mic. This one there.
For the banana crumble slice, can you use nuts instead of oats?
You can add nuts to it. But the oats help the bulkness of it. So if you don't put oats, you can put other things. You can put extra flour, you can put wholemeal flour, or you can put other things that will add to the bulkness of it. But you definitely can put walnuts in it, and it will change the taste. That'll be beautiful. It was crispy. Yes, it was quite nice. Yes, and it's just no butter. It's just normally you do a butter crumble. It's just an oil one, so it's healthier for you.
Two, and just for two, instead of I couldn't use
No, that's right. Okay, well, if you would like, just buy a tin of the beans already in a tin, and you can use that instead of cooking a whole big stack. Or what you can do is you can cook a big stack and then freeze it in smaller portions so that you can use it whenever you feel like it. Well, if you do a whole lot and then freeze it, you'd follow that recipe. If not, then if you halve it or quarter it, that's what you do, is just put a quarter or just a couple of... Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, you can just divide it up into 4 or into 3 lots or whatever you like. But that's right. Well, if you're going to make it up and you're going to go through the trouble, make a whole big batch and then divide it into smaller containers and freeze it. And then it's ready whenever you need it. Just take it out and put it in the oven, reheat it up, or you might just, it's a lot, yeah. Yeah, and then you don't have to cook every night. I do that quite often. If I cook a big amount of things, I put half away and we eat the other half. And then, a couple of weeks down the road, I'm flat out. I say, I've got something in the freezer, I'll just take it out. Yeah. Yes, that's right. If there's only 2 of you, because there's only my husband and I now, and we always have leftovers. And it's, it's kind of frustrating because I can't cook small amounts. I cannot. Doesn't matter how much I try. The hardest thing when I got married was to cook for 2 people, because I had a family. There were 4 of us children, mum and dad, and there's always visitors. And that's how I learned, and I can't cook for 2 people. I cannot. It's impossible for me. So
have you ever eaten the same thing for 5-6 days?
That's when I don't freeze it. That's when we just have it for lunch, and we have it for lunch, and we have it for lunch. And then we might toss it out. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yes, that's right. I'm from Brazil. I'm from South America, Brazil. I was born in São Paulo.
A bit of a mixture.
We met here in Australia, but I'm from one side and he's from the other side. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more questions before we say goodnight?
And my daughter is married to a part Aboriginal. So it's really multicultural at home. We've got everyone. It's really nice. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being here. And I hope to see you on Sunday and maybe on Monday again. Thank you.
Feel welcome to come up and talk and ask questions if you want to.
If you want to register on Sunday, Amy has taken control of it right there.
How are you?
Sorry, I couldn't get what you were doing there because I couldn't see properly. Okay, this. So what did you do with that?
That's your banana slice?
Yes.
We cooked it together. The coconut cream, the honey, the vanilla.
You cooked all that?
Cooked all that in a saucepan.
Yeah.
And boiled it all together, and then we added the corn flour and the water separate and put it in. Yes, that's right.
I kept on thinking you called it this.
No, and then we put that in there as well. We mixed all this up.
Yeah, but you cooked that, thickened that part, and then you just added that.
Or you can put that in there and then thicken it up.
All
It
right.
doesn't